The Fairy Glen story about a woman who finds ecstasy in unexpected places. Maya had forgotten what silence sounded like. Not the muted hum of the city at 3 a.m., or the white noise machine her ex-girlfriend insisted on running every night. Real silence. The kind that made space for thoughts she'd been too busy, too burned out, too practical to entertain. She'd rented the cottage on impulse a last-minute weekend escape from her cramped apartment and the ghost of a relationship that had ended 3 months ago. "You've lost your magic," Simone had said during their final argument, as if Maya had misplaced it somewhere between client meetings and grocery runs. As if she'd chosen to become this tired, hollow version of herself. The evening air was cool against her skin as Maya stepped off the cottage's small porch and into the woods beyond. No plan, no destination. Just the barely visible trail winding between ancient oaks and the pull of something she couldn't name. The forest grew denser as she walked, the canopy above filtering the fading sunlight into cathedral beams. Maya's footsteps quieted on a carpet of moss, and she found herself holding her breath without meaning to, as if the woods themselves were holding space for something sacred. That's when she saw it. A perfect circle of mushrooms, their caps glowing faintly in the twilight. At its center, a pool of water so clear it reflected stars that shouldn't have been visible yet. Flowers she couldn't name bloomed in impossible colors, violet that shimmered like oil slicks, silver that pulsed with inner light. Maya's rational mind cataloged explanations. Bioluminescence, maybe, or her eyes adjusting to the dim light. But her heart, that part of her she'd been ignoring for so long, whispered a different truth. This is real. The laughter came next. Musical, tinkling like wind chimes made of crystal. Maya froze, scanning the glen, and that's when she saw them. Small figures darting between flowers, no taller than her forearm. Wings that caught the last rays of sunlight and scattered it like prisms. Bodies that seemed to shift between solid and luminous, like they were made of moonlight and mist. Fairies, actual, impossible, real fairies. One hovered at eye level, staring at Maya with eyes the color of violets. She was exquisite, delicate features, hair like spun silver, skin that glowed softly. And she was, naked or wearing something that looked like dew and starlight. Maya couldn't tell, couldn't look away, couldn't breathe. "You're real," Maya whispered. The fairy tilted her head, considering. When she spoke, her voice was like bells and bird song. "And you are very large." A laugh bubbled up from Maya's chest, surprising her. She couldn't remember the last time she'd laughed like that, unguarded, genuine. The fairy smiled, revealing small, perfect teeth. "I am Lyra, daughter of this glen. You can see us, that is. Rare, special." She circled Maya slowly, tiny hands reaching out to touch a strand of Maya's dark hair, her jacket sleeve, her cheek. Each touch sent sparks across Maya's skin. "Why are you here, large one?" Lyra asked. "I don't know," Maya admitted. "I was just walking and I found." She gestured at the impossible glen. "This, you." Lyra called out in a language that sounded like running water and rustling leaves. 5 more fairies emerged from flowers and trees, each one unique, each one breathtaking. Maya's breath caught as a memory surfaced, unbidden, herself at 8 years old, playing for hours with her fashion dolls. Creating elaborate stories, dressing and undressing them with careful fingers, tracing their smooth, perfect forms with a fascination she hadn't understood then. Her mother had eventually hidden the dolls, uncomfortable with her daughter's intensity. Looking at the fairies now, their luminous skin, their graceful movements, their otherworldly beauty, Maya felt that same pull, deeper and more dangerous now that she understood what it meant. One fairy with rose gold skin and hair like dandelion fluff flew closer, hovering near Maya's shoulder. "You are attracted to us." The question was curious, not judgmental. Maya's face burned. I shouldn't be." "You're so small, and I don't even." Another fairy, bolder than the rest with silver hair that moved like liquid, laughed. "Size is perspective, large one, and you glow with wanting. We see it." "Feel it." The fairies exchanged glances, communicating in their musical language. Maya caught fragments, her name passed between them like a prayer. Lyra flew close again, close enough that Maya could see the delicate veining in her wings, the flecks of gold in her violet eyes. "Would you like to stay? In our glen, for the night?" The invitation hung in the air, heavy with possibility. Maya should say no. Should walk back to the cottage, pour herself wine, call this a hallucination brought on by stress and isolation. Should return to the city on Monday and find a therapist. "Yes," she whispered instead. The fairies led her deeper into the glen, to a bower of flowers and moss that seemed to grow as she approached, expanding to accommodate her human size. The air itself felt different here, warmer, sweeter, alive with magic. "Our magic bends for guests," Lyra explained, settling on Maya's shoulder like she belonged there. "You are safe here. Welcome." They brought her food berries that tasted like starlight and summer storms, nectar that made her head swim pleasantly, flower petals that dissolved on her tongue like snow. Maya felt herself relaxing, the tension she'd carried for months melting away. The fairies were everywhere, in her hair, on her arms, examining her clothes with fascination. The rose gold one petal, she'd learned, tugged gently at Maya's shirt. "Why do humans hide?" Petal asked, her voice like distant thunder. "We want to see you too." Maya's pulse quickened, 6 pairs of eyes watching her, waiting. She could see her reflection in the Pula woman who'd forgotten how to feel beautiful, who'd spent years making herself smaller to fit into spaces that were never meant for her. But here now, with creatures who looked at her like she was the magical thing. With trembling hands, Maya removed her jacket, then her shirt. The cool air kissed her skin, and the fairies made sounds like wind chimes in a breeze, appreciative, wondering. They flew closer, examining her with unabashed curiosity. Tiny hands on her shoulders, her arms, tracing her collarbone with touches light as breath. Each point of contact sent heat spiraling through her body. Silene, the bold, silver-haired fairy, landed on her shoulder. "So soft, so warm, you are beautiful, large one." "I'm not." Maya started, but Lyra silenced her with a finger pressed gently to her lips. The tiny gesture sent electricity through Maya's entire body. "You doubt your beauty," Lyra said softly. "We do not, we see truth." The fairies began to glow softly, responding to something in Maya, her arousal, her wonder, her desperate need to be seen. She removed the rest of her clothes slowly, feeling exposed but also liberated. Free. The fairies circled her, admiring, touching with reverent gentleness. Maya had never felt so desired, so worshipped. The fairies began to dance a swirling, hypnotic pattern in the air around her. Their bodies moved in impossible ways, sensual and inviting, wings catching the fading light. Lyra landed on Maya's shoulder again, her voice a whisper directly in her ear. "We want to please you, will you let us?" Maya's voice came out rough, thick with want. "I don't understand how. You're so small." Silene settled on her other shoulder. "Magic is not about size, it is about sensation, touch, connection." A third fairy dewdrop with blue hair like summer sky landed on Maya's chest, right over her racing heart. "Close your eyes, feel." Maya obeyed. With her eyes closed, the world became sensation. Tiny hands, so many exploring her body. Not invasive, but curious, reverent. Mapping her like territory both foreign and sacred. Wings brushed her skin like silk, like whispered promises. Lips, impossibly small but warm, pressed against her neck, her shoulders, the sensitive skin of her inner arms. But it was more than physical touch. The fairy's magic hummed through her, a tingling, effervescent sensation that amplified every caress. It was like being played her entire body an instrument, and they were drawing music from her she didn't know existed. Their voices wove together in harmony, singing in their liquid language. The vibrations resonated through her bones, her blood, the very marrow of her being. Maya gasped, trembled, lost track of where one sensation ended and another began. Lost track of herself entirely and found something larger. Emerging, a connection, a belonging she'd been searching for without knowing. "You are learning," Lyra's voice close to her ear. "Good, now. Breathe. Let go." Maya let go. The pleasure that rolled through her wasn't like anything she'd experienced with Simone or any lover before. It was gentler and somehow more intense, a full-body bliss that started at the points where the fairies touched her and radiated outward in waves of golden light. She didn't know if she cried out, didn't know how long it lasted. Time felt strange here, elastic and irrelevant. When she finally opened her eyes, the stars were fully visible above and the fairies glowed like lanterns, clearly fed by her pleasure. Lyra stroked her cheek with hands smaller than Maya's thumbnail. "You gave us much. Now, would you like to give more in different way?" Maya's voice was hoarse. "What do you mean?" Silene, playful and bold as ever, settled in the palm of Maya's hand. "We showed you our magic, now you show us yours, human touch, human desire." The fairies arranged themselves, on her hands, her lap, her shoulders waiting, trusting. "I don't want to hurt you," Maya said. "You're so delicate." Petal nestled into her palm, looking up with eyes like amber. "We are stronger than we look, and we will guide you." Maya began carefully, reverently. Her fingertips, so large compared to them, stroked along Petal's back, tracing the delicate line of her spine. The fairy arched into the touch, wings fluttering, a sound of pure pleasure escaping her. Her thumb caressed Silene's tiny hand, then arm, then the curve of her side. The silver-haired fairy's eyes closed, a smile playing at her lips. Her breath, warm and gentle, washed over Lyra, who reclined in the hollow of Maya's other palm. The fairy shivered, wings going still. They taught her. "Softer here." "Yes, like that. Wings are very sensitive. Don't stop." Maya learned each fairy in turn. Dewdrop loved having her hair stroked, the blue strands sliding like water through Maya's fingertips. Silene wanted firmer pressure along her shoulders, Maya's thumb needing tension from muscles smaller than grains of rice. Lyra wanted breath, wanted to be bathed in Maya's warmth. Petal wanted to be held, cradled in cupped hands, cherished. The others, Moonbell with hair like spider silk, and Starshine with eyes like galaxies. Each had their own preferences, their own languages of pleasure. This wasn't like being with the other women Maya had known, but there was a physical intimacy deeper than anything she'd experienced, the attention required to please someone so small, so different. The trust they showed her, lying vulnerable in her enormous hands. The joy of discovering what made each one sigh, shiver, glow brighter. Maya tended to them with devotion, learning the language of their pleasure, and felt something in herself healing. The part that had been told she was too intense, too much, not enough. Here, her attention was a gift. Her desire was celebrated. The fairies' glow intensified, their music rising in harmony. Maya felt a strange energy flowing between them, a circuit of desire and pleasure and connection that fed on itself, growing stronger. Time dissolved. There was only this, the giving and receiving, the exploration and discovery, the merging of human and fae in a dance as old as the woods themselves. At some point, Maya couldn't say when all 6 fairies settled on her body. Lyra on her chest, Silene on her stomach, the others on her arms and legs like living jewelry. They began to sing together, a harmony that made the air shimmer and the flowers bloom brighter. Maya felt their magic intensify, felt the boundaries between herself and them blur. She could feel their pleasure as they felt hers, a feedback loop of sensation and emotion that spiraled upward and upward. "You understand now." Lyra's voice was thick with emotion. "Why we wanted you." Tears slid down Maya's temples. "Because this is connection," Silene finished. "True connection. Humans forget. You remembered." The sensation crested, not a single climax but a wave of shared ecstasy that rolled through all of them, human and fae alike. Maya felt herself dissolving into light, into music, into the very magic of the glen itself. And for one perfect, eternal moment, she was home. Maya woke to soft dawn light filtering through the canopy. The fairies were nestled around her, Petal curled in the crook of her neck, Silene sprawled across her stomach, Lyra sleeping in her loosely cupped hand. She watched them, these impossible creatures who'd given her back to herself. Her chest ached with an emotion she couldn't name, gratitude and longing, and something that felt dangerously like love. Lyra stirred first, violet eyes opening to meet Maya's gaze. "What happens now?" Maya whispered. "Do I have to leave?" Lyra's expression turned sad. "You are human, you have human world, human life, we cannot leave Glen." Maya's heart cracked. "So this was just one night?" Silene woke, stretched. Nothing with Faye is just. You are changed, we are changed. And you can return, Petal added, voice still sleepy. Always, Glen will open for you. Lyra flew up to hover at eye level. When city makes you forget magic again, come back, we wait. Maya sat up carefully, not wanting to disturb the fairies still sleeping on her. A decision crystallized, clear and certain. I'll come back, every weekend. Every chance I get. The fairies exchanged glances, some wordless communication passing between them. Then Lyra spoke. Then we give you gift. All 6 fairies flew to her bare chest, placing their tiny hands over her heart. Maya felt warmth bloom there, a pulse of pure magic sinking into her, becoming part of her. Part of us always with you, Lyra said. You feel us even in city, and when you need us, Glen calls. Maya felt it, a golden thread connecting her to this place, to them. She'd never be completely separate again. Silene grinned, mischievous. And when you return, we have much more to teach. The fairies giggled and Maya laughed through her tears. I can't wait. Maya dressed slowly, the fairies helping by getting tangled in her sleeves and making her laugh. She memorized every detail, the way morning light caught Lyra's wings, how Silene's silver hair looked like mercury, the sound of Petal's laughter. The walk back through the woods felt different. Maya felt different, connected to her body again, open to wonder, unashamed of desire. Whole in a way she hadn't been in years, maybe ever. When she reached the cottage, she looked back. The path to the glen was invisible now, hidden by ordinary forest. But she knew it was there, would always be there. That night, lying in bed, she felt the warmth in her chest, the fairies' gift pulsing gently. And in her mind, clear as if they were whispering in her ear, we are here, always. Maya smiled, touched her heart, whispered into the darkness. I know. 3 months later, Maya quit her job. Not impulsively, she'd planned it carefully, built up her freelance client base, found a cottage to rent year-round just outside the town near the woods. Simone had called her crazy. Her friends worried. Her mother suggested therapy. But every Friday evening, as Maya walked the now familiar path into the glen, she knew she'd made the right choice. The fairies greeted her with joy every time flying to her, landing on her shoulders and in her hair, covering her face with tiny kisses that felt like butterfly wings. She'd learned so much. Fairy names for plants she'd never known existed. How to see magic in ordinary things. The way frost formed fractals, how spider webs caught light, the sound of acorns falling. That pleasure could be gentle, mutual, transcendent. That she deserved this connection, this joy, this love. Because it was love Maya had realized. Different from romantic love with Simone, but no less real. The fairies had become her family, her community, her home. On this particular Friday, the summer solstice, Maya lay in the bower as the sun set, fairies nestled around her. Lyra reclined on her chest, looking up at her with those violet eyes full of affection. Happy, large one? Lyra asked. Maya stroked Lyra's hair with one fingertip, marveling as she always did at how something so small could make her feel so much. Happier than I've ever been. Silene appeared at her ear, voice full of mischief. Good, because tonight is solstice. Very powerful, we teach you new magic. The other fairies giggled, a sound like bells and wind chimes. Maya laughed, pulling them all closer. I can't wait. The fairies glowed brighter, their light mingling with the last rays of sun and the first stars appearing above. In the distance, Maya heard music, the glen itself singing, celebrating, alive with magic and possibility. She closed her eyes and smiled, finally, impossibly, home. The end. Thank you for listening to another Creatures of Desire story. Please like this video so that it gets recommended to more listeners, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more sapphic tales of fantasy and romance.